From Odessa Shannon Middle School in Silver Spring, this is the Superintendent's recommended fiscal year 2025 operating budget presentation. Now, please welcome our host for this evening, Principal Dr. Natasha Booms.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, guests, and members of our Odessa Shannon Middle School community. I am Dr. Natasha Booms, the proud principal of Odessa Shannon Middle School, and it is my pleasure to welcome each of you here today. We gather to hear our superintendent deliver an important annual address concerning the fiscal year 2025 recommended operating budget presentation. An important part is shaping the future of all of our schools. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the heart and soul of our school, our incredible staff, dedicated PTA leaders, our bright and talented students, and the families who are here today. Can you help me say thank you for being here? Your support for the success of Odessa Shannon Middle School is amazing and helps us to be a standard of excellence in our community. Odessa Shannon Middle School is not just a building. It is a community where the values of inclusivity, diversity, equality resonate deeply. In this remarkable new learning space, we embrace the diversity of backgrounds and perspectives that make us unique. We take pride in maintaining an environment where students feel welcomed and celebrated for their individuality. This building is a reminder of our school district's dedication to providing state-of-the-art schools where curiosity is nurtured and dreams are cultivated. Here at Shannon Middle, our students are on a pathway to success in their futures. Our core purpose and commitment is to guide our students not only to academic success, but into compassionate leaders, well-equipped to make a positive impact on the world around them. This is what Odessa Shannon did in her personal life as an advocate for equal rights and equal opportunities for African Americans in Montgomery County. Her spirit of public service, her dedication to volunteerism, and her advocacy for the greater good are qualities we are working to ensure that we teach our students who will be the future leaders in the community. With that, I am honored to introduce another important local leader and advocate for public education, our President of the Board of Education, Ms. Carla Silvestri.
Good evening. Muy buenas tardes a todos. It's so good to see so many of you here today. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for supporting our schools. And I want to start out by thanking our principal, Dr. Booms, for hosting us here tonight and her wonderful staff that made all of this happen. So let's give her and her staff a round of applause. Welcome again. I'm Carla Silvestri, President of the Board of Education. I want to start out by recognizing my fellow board members that are here tonight, starting with Vice President Lynn Harris, Rebecca Smoldrowski, Shebra Evans, Brenda Wolf, Grace Rivera Oven, Julie Yang, and last but not least, student member of the board, Sammy Saeed. I also want to give a warm welcome to our elected officials that are here. Natalie Fane Gonzalez, council member, thank you so much for being here. Any other elected officials in the room, please stand to be recognized. I know a few are on their way. Tonight, we're going to hear the superintendent's operating budget for the upcoming year. And this budget outlines key priorities that are needed in our school system to maintain and to continue to see the growth that we're already seeing in academic achievement for our students. A budget that will also support our staff. I want you to know that the board remains steadfast in our 4 priorities: increasing math and literacy for all our students, improving two-way communication between our schools and our families, safe and inclusive schools, and finally, the recruitment, retention, and equitable distribution of a diverse workforce. The MCPS budget, as you know, is locally funded, and this represents our community support for our public school system. And our schools need the entire community's support to achieve the academic excellence that we know our children can achieve. We must continue to invest in our schools and continue Montgomery County's long and proud tradition of support of our public school system. Our moral compass must be providing students with what they need to achieve at their highest levels and achieve their beautiful potential, especially students that come to us with incredible challenges. We must also be focused on doing what works and giving up things that we know no longer work for our school system. And always, 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 equity must guide our resource allocation. I call on all of us tonight to ensure that MCPS continues to be an excellent school system for all our community's children, every single one of them. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The future of Montgomery County depends on how well we do for our children today. A small commercial break. After winter break, we are holding operating budget work sessions and hearings. We want to hear from you, your priorities, so that we can incorporate it into our discussions. And now it's an honor and privilege to introduce Montgomery County Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Monifa McKnight.
Right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, President Silvestri, and thank you to Principal Booms for welcoming us to your beautiful school. Isn't it so nice? Just such a beautiful building. Yes, they absolutely deserve that. And once again, I'm also going to ask that we give a round of applause to our Board of Education members. And as we think about this process, it is just so important that we recognize everybody who's a part of the process. I just mentioned welcoming our Board of Education members, but I see we also have our Education and Culture Committee Chair, Councilmember Juando, who just came in. Can you please stand, sir? And Councilmember Natalie Fanny Gonzalez, would you please stand? Can you both remain standing for just a moment? So I do want to thank them. This is a process that we're starting tonight, and tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but the process of a budget is one that starts tonight with just information about our school system, but it then leads to a bigger conversation about education within our community. And so they have been active partners last year, will continue to be this year as we continue to have those conversations, and I want to thank them so much for that. And Councilmember Juando, as the Education and Culture Chair Committee person, we just really appreciate all that you've done for our school system. We look forward to continuing to work with you and the rest of the council as we move through this process. So thank you so much for being here tonight. So let me say to all of you who are here tonight and watching online, no matter your role, I also want to begin saying thank you to for all that you do for every single one of our students and staff and community members here in Montgomery County and for Montgomery County Public Schools. Thank you for supporting our school system as we strive every day to shine as the crown jewel in this great county. And tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about how we meet right now in this moment. We meet at a time of both historic significance and historic challenge. What's happening globally, nationally, and within Montgomery County affects all of us, even in our schools. It impacts the children and the staff, always influencing their well-being, their sense of self, and their way of life. It is our role as leaders, educators, and adults not only to teach, but also to model what we want for our children as they grow and become the caretakers of our communities. So to help them assume that role, a key question is before us tonight. How do we design a pathway to a bright future for all MCPS students? A bright future marked by a strong foundation in mathematics and literacy, with exposure to an array of subjects and experiences as they advance from one grade level to the next. I see a future in which our children are not only good students, but also good citizens and good people, equipped with the competencies that our employers seek, our communities benefit from, and that families value. That's the pathway we're on and continue to invest in for all MCPS students, and for the strong economic and vital civic future of our community. To put forward the investment required for that bright future, I am pleased to present my recommended operating budget for fiscal year 2025 to you, the Board of Education, the students, our staff, and the community. I am happy to do so here, as I just said, in this beautiful building, right here at Odessa Shannon Middle School. As Dr. Booms shared, a school whose namesake represents what we strive for in our communities: hope, inspiration, and an expectation of equity for all. For Odessa Shannon's story is one of hope. She made history as the first African-American woman elected to the Board of Education. And when she retired, the county council declared that Montgomery County is a more just and a fairer place because of Shannon's public service, volunteerism, and advocacy. She indeed was a trailblazer, and her determination, grace, and positivity will be sorely missed. So in this school, these virtues, they actually live on. They live on in the teachers, in the administrators, and the support staff who uphold the commitment to public service, and in the students' commitment to one another and to their community. Students like Claire. She's a straight-A student who regularly elevates the voices of students at the school's instructional leadership team meetings, and who has already secured a college scholarship as an 8th grader. Stand up, Claire. Indeed impressive. Or Patrick, who started earning service learning hours in 6th grade through his contributions to the community. Now, in 8th grade, Patrick already has 307 SSL hours and is aiming to have 1,000 by graduation. Stand up, Patrick. Amazing. And Anyi, who began her academic career at Kent Mill Elementary School in 2019, quickly flourishing from a shy level 1 emergent multilingual learner who did not speak any English to a student fluent in English and actively involved in the school community. Anya, stand please. I just love it when they smile. That's what we want you to feel, nothing but pride and love. And Damien, who epitomizes service, advocating for a clean school building conducive for learning, and serving as a student host for several school events. Respected by the Odessa Shannon staff, Damien has a perfect 4.0 GPA. Damien? We are so proud of you all. Every day, Claire, Patrick, Ani, and Damien show us what it means to carry the legacy of a community's history into the present, to build on a tradition of excellence and equity by developing more readers, writers, coders, firefighters, math teachers, and civically engaged young people. Let's congratulate all of these young, accomplished learners one more time. And stand up one more time. We want to see you. Thank you so much for being great models. And I'd also like to say, for each of our students, it's also important to think about the support structure that helps them do what they do. Their families. If any of your families are here with you tonight, please stand. Students, your families. Families, can you stand? Thank you, thank you, thank you. We always say when we work with our students and we work with our families, there can be nothing but good that comes from that. And so we thank you for supporting them and working with us to help them build a brighter future. So over the past 3.5 years, the students here and across MCPS, they've experienced significant changes in their lives brought about by the pandemic. They started attending school only to return home for virtual instruction for much longer than any of us would have imagined. And in order to meet their needs, MCPS needed to shift how we do business. We made important targeted investments in innovative teaching tools and practices, in strengthening the support systems around students' emotional needs and mental health, and in accelerating learning opportunities for students to catch up from the disruption they endured. And I want to say thanks to the dedication of all MCPS teachers, support staff, and administrators. I am proud to report that the investments are starting to yield real progress. Because that's what it's about. And indeed, we are seeing the promise of a brighter future. We're seeing it in our young readers who are benefiting from the research-based instructional practices. Last summer alone, we invested $5.3 million in professional learning. That included training 3,767 educators in the science of reading. Now let's take a moment to look at the results.
Early literacy is so important because it's the foundational skills that students need in order to be successful in life.
Today we are going to listen for how many sounds we hear in words.
So we've always taught reading at the elementary level. The difference now is lessons are taught in a focused way.
How many? 3.
We have 3 areas of focus. Our first one, classroom instruction. Teachers are clearly modeling skills. They model a skill, they give the students the opportunity to work together to demonstrate the skill, and then they give the students the opportunity to demonstrate the skill independently. Our second, assessments. We really wanted to put in place an assessment that allowed teachers to collect the data, analyze that data to then inform their instruction.
Small group and doing it again.
And our third area of focus was around professional learning. This summer, we brought in every single elementary educator and provided training on the 5 components of reading.
It's really exciting to see that light bulb go on because it's not passive, it's very explicit. What says C? Excellent, write it down.
We are seeing so much energy in their reading. They are engaged in the lessons. They're excited about learning.
I already did mine.
This investment on early literacy has been tremendously remarkable. When we think about our data, when we think about the growth that we have seen, the increased effectiveness of teacher practice that we see when we visit classrooms as a result of the professional learning, the tools, it has been all worth it.
Very good. I hope that the structured literacy programming continues. I'm seeing such great gains from all of our students starting right here in kindergarten.
I did it.
That's awesome. And that's right. We're doing it. I agree with her. When comparing our results from last fall to this fall, we're well on our way to a brighter future for all of our elementary students in all early grades, highlighted by over 5-point gains in first grade and over 4-point gains in second grade for all racial and ethnic groups, including 6-point gains for our Hispanic and Latina students and over 5-point gains for our Black or African American students. And we are seeing progress for students who receive services, with over 7-point gains for our students impacted by poverty and 4-point gains for students receiving special education services. And our commitment extends also beyond elementary school. We expect to see a brighter future for middle school students. We've introduced English language development and math coaches to work with 14 middle schools daily, tailoring their focus to meet the needs of each school, particularly in planning for exceptional instruction. And our high school students are actively embracing that brighter future by enrolling in advanced coursework. This year, almost 26,000 students are enrolled in over 56,000 sections of advanced placement and international baccalaureate classes, accumulating valuable college credits, along with the thousands thriving in the dual enrollment program, studying as high school and college students at the same time. And some of them will soon join the 238 members of the class of 2023 who graduated from high school with an associate's degree. So thanks, yes. Thanks to those efforts, this is what deserves the applause too. MCPS is home to the greatest number of students in the entire state of Maryland earning degrees through dual enrollment programs. MCPS, the highest in the state. Simultaneously, students are embarking on exciting career training journeys. Over 16,000 students are enrolled in career and technical education programs designed to equip them with job-ready skills, competencies, and certifications. So alumni like Jairo are walking straight into the world of work. He is a 2019 MCPS graduate of Thomas Edison High School of Technology in the Technology Electricity program. And Jairo has turned his industry certification into a 6-figure salary managing local electrical grids for Exxon Energy. Jairo. This is a proud MCPS alumni. Perfect example, going into work and doing well. And we're so proud of you. And thank you for coming tonight. And Steve, I see you sitting right there. Thank you for all that you do in the program. This year, for the first time, there is no cost to students who take the tests that help them receive college credit. Students are attending Montgomery College for free. And CTE credit exams are fully covered by the district. Our students asked for this. Without the barriers of tuition or test fees, students like Falashade are taking advantage of the opportunities. She can proudly introduce herself today as a middle college student from Seneca Valley High School who serves on the Budget Advisory Committee and was selected as the Montgomery County Council member for a day. Falashade, would you please stand? I have one more note to make about Falashade. She has served on the Budget Advisory Committee not 1 year, 2 years. 2 years. My guess is at one point, Falashade may be developing the Montgomery County Public Schools budget. And that's exactly what we want, right? Our MCPS students coming back to run the district. Thank you, Falashade, for your service and commitment to Montgomery County. Look for her. How proud should our county be that we have young people who have achieved these types of significant milestones? Pursuing multiple degrees across multiple institutions, and sometimes at the same time. The hard work of helping students pursue this pathway is being fueled by dedicated MCPS staff who arrive at bus stops and, may I say, bus depots before the sun even rises. I know because I've been there a few times and it's dark, and they're all there. Staff who unlock the classroom doors soon thereafter and stay well after the last bell rings, staying with our students to support them and mentor them in so many different ways. And yes, we have seen them do more and more over time as thousands of staff members expand their skill set. For example, over 9,000 educators participated in 129 different courses last summer. Over 800 leaders participated in sessions on anti-racist and culturally responsive leadership. And 629 teachers are nationally board certified, with another 857 candidates in progress to earn that distinction, just to name a few. And so that's why we've partnered with our employee associations to deliver more than 6% increases for staff this school year, with at least 3% more coming next year. That was a much-deserved increase after decades of societal shortchanging of educators, up to and including their work during the pandemic. But that sort of increase is exactly what it will take to remain competitive in today's employment market, where aspiring and experienced teachers, administrators, and support staff are in short supply, but their skills are in great demand. So, the investments from last year are ushering in a brighter future for today. Thanks to the leadership of the Board of Education, the county executive, and the county council, who supported MCPS with this year's $3.2 billion operating budget. I say thank you again. Now, tonight, I propose that we continue on this path, to not waver, to maintain our priorities for students and staff, that we do our part in continuing to provide a world-class education to each and every student, delivered by highly qualified and caring adults in safe and nurturing environments with a slate of support wrapping around students to meet their growing needs. As a school system, achieving any sort of success will always come back to teaching and learning. That's why we exist. It's our main mission. And delivering on that mission with the highest standards is what our families, our current residents, and future residents rightly expect. Each day, we teach over 160,000 diverse students with a range of needs. 44% of them receive free and reduced meals. Over half have been impacted by poverty. Nearly 14% receive special education services. Nearly 1 in 5 are emergent multilingual learners. And more than a third have received language services at some point during their time with us. And some of them have arrived after very difficult journeys, but with big dreams and lofty ambitions that they have a chance to realize. Meanwhile, the fiscal landscape does remain complex. Over the last 3 years, the temporary infusion of federal funds that were available to us, known as the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, or ESSER funds, helped buoy us through the pandemic and the start of the recovery. Right now, 125 million ESSER dollars are paying for mental health resources, curriculum resources, technology, and so much more. While that federal relief ends this year, our students' needs will not. Now, it is up to us as a community to maintain the positive trajectory and build on our successes. We will need your support to continue the most essential services that were paid from the ESSER fund. That means the $125 million we've relied upon this year will be reduced by $92 million, carrying over $33 million into the operating budget. As you are hearing, my friends, what we are facing is complex, both in terms of student needs and fiscal realities. We have to face this head on with robust goals and sound strategies. And we must realize these goals through an honest appraisal of our county's fiscal climate, with an appreciation for our resident sacrifices and acknowledgement that resources are becoming scarce. What I am proposing for next year's budget pursues ambitious goals with fiscally responsible increases. The MCPS strategic plan lays out what we will do to get there by pursuing academic excellence, well-being and family engagement, and professional and operational excellence. These are the pillars that hold up this great school system. Do we wish to forge ahead holding those pillars up, or hit pause, endangering the foundation? That is the choice in front of us. To forge ahead, I am recommending a $3.3 billion operating budget so we can keep our word and stay true to our commitments, while also committing to spend sustainably so that we can build on these investments in years to come. My recommendation represents a roughly $157 million increase above this year's budget, with the vast majority, about $100 million, going straight to the more than 3% raise in employee compensation for next year. About $33 million will be dedicated to preserving essential services previously funded through ESSER, and additional dollars necessary to manage enrollment changes, mandates under the blueprint for Maryland's future legislation, the impact of inflation, and a small number of accelerators. We must move forward, starting with the investments we are proposing in academic excellence. Beginning with enrolling the youngest learners in school as early as possible, which should sound familiar because we are building our pre-kindergarten program year over year, seat by seat. And with a $7.3 million investment this year, we will add 520 more pre-kindergarten seats for 3- and 4-year-old learners. And as they advance, we want all students to learn with the highest quality curricular materials, because a strong curriculum aligned to the standards with targeted interventions is a key ingredient in an instructional program that works. And providing that through our operating budget will cost about $8 million. For special education and emergent multilingual learners, achieving college career and community readiness throughout their time in school takes more staffing and support. And as the number of students receiving these services grows, we are requesting an additional nearly $13 million to provide them. To meet the increasing needs our students brought into the schools post-pandemic, we've coupled excellent instruction with essential social-emotional support, offering students the tools to fully engage in their learning. Our students are embracing these resources and have come to count on them. With the help of a $4 million investment using ESSER funding, we've deployed 44 well-being social workers since the pandemic, who connected with 3,432 students last school year. In the current school year alone, they have already assisted 2,707 students, underscoring the pressing need to continue funding this type of assistance. As one student wrote to her social worker, "Dear Miss A, I cannot express with words how thankful I am for you. Had I not met you last year, I don't think I'd be here at this moment writing this note. You helped me remember that despite everything, the sun still rises every day and that things will change. Your support, my friends' support, and my teachers' support is why I'm still here." That is significant. And all of that work is coordinated by Ms. Stephanie Wallace, our social worker supervisor. Stephanie, would you please stand? And thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. I have walked through our building sometimes and I'll often see trainings happen and I'll peek in. And I've peeked into theirs. And for the weight that they're often carrying for others, they are the happiest people. And so it just speaks to how their life's work is about delivering a service to others to ensure that they are well. Stephanie, thank you to you and your team and all of the social workers for what you do. We see it, our students need the support more than ever. And not only do our students need the supports are working. Our restorative justice program, designed to nurture healthy relationships and mutual respect to repair harm where it is done, has helped us achieve a 40% decrease of Black or African American suspensions in schools with a restorative justice specialist, and a reduction in repeat offenses. In fact, 81% of students who engaged in restorative justice did not repeat the violation. So social workers and restorative justice specialists, they play a critical role not only in helping individual students, but also more broadly through their investments in physical, psychological, and emotional safety. We have more security personnel, more cameras, and enhanced infrastructure to help stem the 65% increase we have seen in serious incidents compared to this time last year. So much of which is a reflection of what's happening in our broader community. And to stomp out hate, bias, and bigotry in any form, we'll continue coordinating our efforts for prevention, inclusion, and restoration even more closely, thanks to an $870,000 grant from the statewide Stronger Connections program. These funds will help realize the vision I put forward in April when I called on our community to act against all hate. Let's take a look. As we have seen over the history of our school system, and especially in recent months, there are many negative forces competing for those young hearts and minds, namely the forces of prejudice and self-doubt. Yet we must never tire of fighting to inch ever closer to our values, to instill excellence, respect, and compassion in the citizens of tomorrow, our students. And as a school system, that is our common goal, our common destiny. And it is by having that goal that the central focus of our wonder of what a better future looks like and the hard work to make it a reality, that we must define who we are in that process. Safe, nurturing environments must be in place not only for students, but also for the adults in front of them. That's why my budget proposal includes a $500,000 increase to strengthen our compliance and investigations functions. We must be better able to swiftly and thoroughly investigate any claims of wrongdoing anywhere in the district and take appropriate action. To help offset our requested increases, we have strategically given priority to financial stewardship, establishing a robust evaluation protocol to redirect funds away from programs that do not yield the best return on investment. One example is a social and emotional learning curriculum, where our evaluation showed mixed results. So we pulled back on the $1.4 million commitment, and it will be reinvested, and we'll take those dollars and put them into higher impact programs such as social workers and restorative justice. The promise of strong academic offerings rests upon an ongoing commitment to our third strategic plan area, professional and operational excellence. Starting with upholding our commitments in our employee contracts. To fully bring our agreements to fruition, we will be investing about $100 million in compensation and benefits. This will allow us to keep up with surrounding jurisdictions, to begin getting ahead with competitive salaries, and to remain a destination employer for the best and the brightest. Let's take a look at the impact of these increases.
The The pay raise really makes me feel more valued.
I love what I do, but definitely it's important to feel that you're appreciated.
And it shows that our work doesn't go unnoticed. And my hope is definitely to keep building my career here at MCPS.
We want people to stay. We want people to learn and grow.
Pay is a huge piece in making sure you're keeping your talent in MCPS.
So at the end of last year, I had a couple opportunities to maybe take some other jobs, but the pay raise really helped to sort of validate the work that I'm doing here while also sort of lessening that financial strain.
The increase in my salary does a lot for me by helping me pay the bills and helping me keep my car reliable to get to work.
The raises will help me pay for my education for my master's degree in school counseling.
With the inflation, we're trying to make ends meet, and everything's so expensive.
This will definitely help level that out.
I know educators that go out of their pocket above and beyond to support not just children, but they're also supporting families and what they need so that their children can be successful.
Our teachers are the most important investment in our school system. They really are the key to helping support our kids. And when I say teachers, I mean everyone. Our support staff, from building services to our media center to our paraeducators that work tirelessly, teaching our kids the life skills they need to be successful adults.
So I'm rewarded every single day in those positive relationships that I have with the students. So it's been nice to be rewarded kind of financially as well.
The raises are deserved because we love what we do and we want to keep doing what we love to do. And that is to be there for the kids.
Yes. They are needed. So let's commit to a future where staff like Dawn and David and Ryan want to make our school system their home and can afford to live in the community that they serve. Now, we have a choice in front of us. Do we press pause? Do we slow the momentum we've gained in keeping students in our schools with restorative approaches? Do we risk skipping on the gains we've made and must continue to make in literacy? Do we waver on commitments to special education students and emergent multilingual learners? Do we turn our back on our educators who have been undervalued for far too long? To all of this, I say no, we should not, we must not. I submit that we must continue progressing along our pathway with a $3.3 billion investment in a brighter future, where more and more 3- and 4-year-old students are exposed to early learning opportunities, where every student has the foundation in mathematics and literacy to read fluently, write coherently, and think creatively, where every student who is struggling can get the help that they need, where every high school student has a shot at higher education and a good paying job, and where every teacher and administrator and bus driver and paraeducator earns a paycheck that dignifies their work and proves that we, our community, value their calling. I am asking us to choose progress, to continue on the path, to invest in that brighter future, because that is what we can do and what we should do and what our students deserve. Thank you very much. Tonight, I've shared a clear picture of what we need and what we are asking for. And so I look forward to us continuing the conversations to understand this more deeply and to, most importantly, look at the impact that these dollars will commit to our students in the future of our system. So with that, we will begin to transition. I will call Mr. Cram up, and we will transition in just a moment to a Q&A session with our students. And I will be joined on the panel by our student member of the board, Mr. Sammy Saeed. Sammy.
This is just a little television pause while we reset, so please don't move. All right, for our students, especially who are here this evening, you're invited to have a discussion with Sammy Seed, the student member of the board, and our superintendent of schools. They're going to get the conversation started, but there's a microphone here in the middle of the room. Please feel free, students, to come up and use that.
All right. I guess I'll get started here. I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And this is my favorite part of the budget program, which is when I get to talk to our students. And I just want to take a moment to talk about our students here and how fantastic they are. The fact that our students can come to something about the budget, something so complex, so nuanced, and still be advocates, be leaders. I have talked to people across the state of Maryland, and I'll say we have the strongest student advocates, I will say not just in the state, but I'd even bet the entire country. So can we give a round of applause to our students here today? I just want to again highlight their interest in this. Recently, actually last month, we held a budget forum with students, and I'm proud to say that students set the record for the highest in-person attendance at any of the budget forums, with over 150 students present. They talked about, yeah, and that's huge. They talked about so many important things, including a lot of things that we're seeing in our budget this year, such as our social workers and restorative justice. That was one of the key things they identified, and that's exactly what we're focusing on. And before we start, I'd like to just say happy holidays to everyone, including those celebrating Hanukkah, which ends this evening, and those who will be celebrating Christmas, Kwanzaa, I believe is how you pronounce it, and welcome in the new year, and our upcoming winter break, which is the best one out of all of those, by the way. All right, so I want to encourage all our students in the audience, feel free to just raise your hand if you'd like to step up to the microphone and ask a question, and I'll be calling on you. So,
you see a lot of hands.
Yeah, look at that.
Come on, let's
enthusiasm.
Line up. Okay. And if you could start with your name and your school, although we know you, Nico, your name and your school, just so that we know who you are.
Hi everyone, I'm Nico. I'm a senior at Wheaton High School, and my question is, what supports does the new operating budget have for elementary students struggling in literacy and math?
Yes, so great question, Nico. I actually talked about that a lot tonight. Our literacy program has been one that has yielded us great results, the science of reading. We found that it wasn't just about investing in the program, but we needed to invest in the training for the teachers. And that has yielded significant results, not just in the students' performance, but also the staff's evaluation of the program, because they feel really good about teaching it because they feel prepared to do so. And then clearly it's working in the benefit of the students. And for math, we've continued to invest in math coaches. That's at the secondary level, but in our elementary, we've continued to look at our curriculum and monitor the supports, like the interventions that we've put in place for mathematics to support our students. And I'm glad you asked that question, because when we make those investments in our elementary students, we're having less conversations later about how to close gaps as they then move to secondary. And we're trying to figure out how to provide these supports for them much later in their academic career.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the question, Nico. Yeah. Especially asking about students, younger than just secondary school. Sometimes right. I think we can forget about that point, but I think that's such a key stakeholder group. So thank you for that question.
That's right.
All right, right here in the front. Would you like to go ahead? One of our star students here.
That's right.
My name is Damian Coles, and I'm an 8th grader at Odessa Shannon. My question is for you, Sammy. How do you feel about the recommendation for the budget for the 2025 school year?
I'll say I feel fantastic. I mean, we know that this year is a very, very tough year fiscally, and not just for us, not just for Maryland, but across the nation. I mean, it's a really, really tough year. But even then, what I really appreciate, as I kind of hinted at earlier, was the focus on those key priority areas that students, staff, and the rest of our key community stakeholders have identified that they want to keep. You know, I can't emphasize enough how important it was to keep those social workers and those restorative justice practices, but also focusing on those accelerators for math and literacy rates. I mean, like Dr. McKnight hinted at, we are on this fast trajectory and we don't want to put a pause on that. We want to continue, and also to continue and uphold our promises to our fantastic staff, who really are the bedrock of our school system, and make sure that we're giving them the support they need to live somewhere like Montgomery County. And so every single thing in that budget is necessary. It was picked out based exactly on what stakeholders identified to us, and I've seen it firsthand, and especially students have identified to us as what they need to see in our school system. So even though we're very limited, I feel very confident that we have picked the key priority areas to focus on, and I'm really, really happy with the budget, and I'm really, really excited to go through this whole process and see where we end up. So I feel very confident about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no.
That's right. Thank you, Damien.
Here we have the president of our regional SGA.
Hello, my name is Anusha and I'm a senior at Poolsville High School. So my question is pertaining to financial literacy. So is there room in the budget to secure more resources and a stronger push for financial literacy requirements across all schools in the county? And if so, what does that look like for the future?
Yes, great question. So we're going to be having that conversation at our Board of Education in, thank you. This is wonderful. Thank you, board members. In February. And one of the things that we've tried to do to address the needs in financial literacy is to look at not so much the financial resources that are needed. Really, a challenge for us has been how do we make this accessible and easily accessible to students so that it doesn't impede any type of graduation or those types of things. So we've been very creative in utilizing the technology that we already have and really looking at student schedules and getting feedback from our students on, you know, how can we create it? Because it's really been more so the time that we've been looking at that's been our biggest challenge and not so much a fiscal need. However, we have heard loud and clear from our students that this is a priority. You want to be able to have these resources available to you. So if resources are needed, then we will absolutely figure out what we need to do to make that happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great questions.
Hi guys. So my question pertains to ESSER. $92 million is a lot of dollars. What can students expect to see going away with this new cliff?
Oh, Samantha, you didn't introduce yourself. Did you introduce yourself?
Oh, right. My name is Samantha Ross. I'm a junior at Montgomery Blair High School.
All right. Thank you, Samantha, for that. $92 million is a lot. What I will say is there will be a number of things that will not continue. Some of it has actually already started. As you know, we've had ESSER 1, ESSER 2, and ESSER 3. And so every year, it's kind of been going away. Like, for instance, the biggest change you'll see this year is that we, unfortunately, were no longer able to continue to offer the tutoring services to students. And that was something that we adored, loved, and wanted to keep, just could not continue to afford it. We've made some cuts in other programs that we've had. I mean, we are looking at different types of additional staffing models that we've had in the past. We've had to cut some of those and look at how we can make realignments within offices to address those services for staff and students, and that's always hard. So we've cut areas in programming. We've looked at how we could better utilize staffing, a number of those things so that we could try to look at ways to be more efficient, but at the same time addressing the dollars that would no longer be there. The goal was to be able to make those cuts, but make sensible cuts. And early in the presentation, I talked a lot about us creating a system to evaluate our program so that, you know, knowing the things that we needed to cut, we wanted to see where we were not getting results from things that were making a difference. So 92 million sounds like a lot, but, you know, 33 million sounds a lot better in terms of these are the things that we absolutely need. And so when I talked about Stephanie Wallace's team and their work and social workers, that's something that we need. I mean, Sammy, we remember when we, you know, every time we talk with students and sit down and have conversations with them, they're saying our social emotional wellness is really, really something that needs to be supported. I mean, honestly, they're more thoughtful about it, our students are now, than we were. You know, and I think they'll become better people because of that. And we'll have a better society because of that. So those are the types of investments that we've had to keep, although we've had to cut, again, across staffing, programs, and other resources in that $92 million. But the goal is that the things that we've cut are not felt in a way to really be difficult for students to continue to get what they need.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Great questions.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Zaria Naqvi, and I'm a sophomore at Winston Churchill High School. My question is, what part of this budget is allocating money towards ensuring the safety of our MCPS students, specifically in regards to school safety officers?
Yes. So actually, safety and security has been one of our priorities. I can't tell you the dollar amount right now, but I know I charged Mr. Hall and our team to really look and study models that will really support the needs of our school system today in 2023 at this moment in time. Our Board of Education actually charged us some months ago to do some community engagement. As they went out and engaged with our community, they heard over and over and over again the concerns around safety. We've heard from you, our students, a number of things that you've experienced, seen, even if not impacted, seen that have concerned you. And so I think right now we're at a really inflection point in time in which we have to look at what are the things that are happening, as I mentioned earlier, in our community that are actually finding their way or have found their way into our schools. And so the money that we've put aside, and we have put aside some money to really study models, programs, and things to figure out what is it that we need. And I don't think it's an either or. I think it's a lot of different things that must be designed. We've tried some different things, in safety and security this year. We invested in the bathrooms.
The vape detectors.
The vape detectors, but then we also have invested in the ID badges. Thank you. All of those pieces. But I think those are things that we've done to address different issues that we've seen come up more than we have in the past. That's why we're trying to take a look at holistically. What do we need present and constant within our schools and our school model to bring the level of safety and comfort to our students who are there every day and our staff and families overall. But we did put money aside in the budget under our area of acceleration for that.
Yes, and I know whenever we talk about safety and security, I always want to highlight the great work of the Board of Education in passing the safety resolution.
That's right.
Which had a number of things you talked about, whether it be ID badges or a big thing that I've heard now going to schools is communication with students.
Yep.
A lot of them just want stronger transparency and communication during safety and emergency incidents, and that's something that was included as well as the enhancement of safety technology, which I know you hinted at with the expansion of cameras in our elementary schools and things of that nature. So
right.
The Board of Education is very diligent in ensuring the safety and security, and I'm sure that we're going to see those changes throughout this year and the coming years as those investments begin to really show all the things that come out of them. So that's another thing. Whenever the topic of safety and security comes up, I always like to mention that resolution. So that's something we're working on as well.
That's right. And Mr. Saeed, to your point, just about the whole piece of students wanting information. I remember visiting Northwest High School last year, and students said, we know what we're supposed to do when something happens, but we want to know what's going on. And so I said to them, absolutely, and you deserve to know. Should I be concerned? Should I feel like everything is taken care of? What are the dynamics happening that I can't see? But then I also shared with them, so this is what we have to figure out. How do we do that with social media? I say it's complex but here we are at an inflection point, right? When I was in school, and it wasn't that long ago, Sandy, although he found a picture of me when I was in high school. When I was in school, we had our drills, the same drills that you all had today, and many of our community members and families and staff members had that same experience, and we went through a process. But I understand where our students are coming from. When things are happening and you see, unfortunately, you all have to watch the news and see some of the bad things that are happening. And so I'm sure it makes you feel very uncomfortable. And so many of the structures and processes that we have used have been built to make sure we take care of the situation, right? But we acknowledge many of our processes and procedures were built and not at a time in which we were managing phones and social media, in which we hear from others could compromise possibly, the safety when they're trying to solve the problem. So that's an example of what I was saying, that it's a perfect example of how our structures don't particularly match our time and situation in which we're navigating today. And to take the time with many people to figure that out is exactly what we need to do. So we've managed through different initiatives, but this is going to need to take a deep dive and a commitment from everyone about what their role is going to be so that we can all, keep safe in these difficult situations. But great question. I'm so glad you brought it up.
Thank you. And I agree with your point on communication. It is something that we've discussed in Sammy's SWAB Advisory Council a lot as well. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you to both.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, 2 more questions. Sammy, you have to pick.
Okay, we have a wide, I'm gonna get you on this side over here. Got some diversity in the room.
Thank you, Mr. Cram.
I'm Ethan DeBrauw, Blair Jr., and my question is, you've told us tonight about ESSER funding kind of being reduced as well as recommending an increase in the budget. Where is this money going to come from?
Ooh, now that is a great question.
Our students are great.
Mr. Cram, should you hand the mic to Councilmember Jawando? Great question. So I love it when you all ask these questions, because earlier when I was talking about Falasha Day, I said you're going to be running all of this at some point in time. And so these are the questions we want you to ask. So the process is such in which I make a recommendation, as I shared tonight publicly with our community. And then I make this recommendation to the Board of Education. The Board of Education and I engage with community members over the next few months to hear their feedback, to hear their advocacy, to hear all of the things that they then want to consider as they then make a budget recommendation to the county. Now, before they make a recommendation to the county or during the process, our county executive delivers a budget funding the school system. And so there's, a lot happening in between all of these processes. So the goal is that we want you, our students and our staff and our families, to engage in that process along the way, so that the recommendation that the Board of Education makes is one that reflects the interests of our communities. And then at that point, Councilmember Jawando and all of his colleagues will enjoy hearing, what those resources are and how they're going to continue to make a positive impact on the school system, which then makes a positive impact on the community, which is something that all of our county leaders are interested in and are dedicated to. All right, so we'll see you soon.
All right, and then our last question here.
Hi, I'm Abby Mizan. I'm a sophomore from Montgomery Blair, and I was just going to ask, as we all are aware, many MCPS students come from immigrant families and are not able to speak English despite current efforts in ESOL resource allocation. Is there any accommodation being made within the budget plan for the fiscal year of 2025 to uplift those students?
Yes. One of the recommendations I talked tonight was about our emergent multilingual language learners and putting more staffing supports in place, as that is one of the fastest growing populations within our school systems. Something else that we're doing, the Board of Education has acknowledged one of our priorities is continuing to work through different types of family engagement, and knowing that our families who move into Montgomery County, particularly through our international offices, that they get the support that they need and actually understand how to navigate processes and programs with other county agencies to support the students and then their families. So yes, there is money in the budget for that, and thank you so much for asking that question, because this is really important.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming this evening. Any closing comments?
I just want to, again, thank our students. Can we get one more round of applause for all our fantastic students? I mean, I can personally attest that it takes months, if not years, to understand the budget fully, and we have students asking about some of the most intricate parts of the budget, how it's funded, and how much funding we get and where that money comes from. And so it's just fantastic to know that our students are so involved, and we like to often call them the customers of our school system.
That's right.
But they're also the ones leading it, and like you hinted at, the future leaders. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds for a lot of our students, and hopefully see these familiar faces come back to MCPS.
That's right, Sandy.
And so I'm really, really excited to see that.
Right.
So I think this has been fantastic. Some fantastic questions were asked, and I'm really, really looking forward to developing this budget along with our fantastic Board of Education and my colleagues here today.
Absolutely. Thank you to the Board of Education. Thank you to our staff, students, and community for your engagement tonight. We look forward to seeing you continue to be involved in this process moving forward. Thank you for coming out. All right.
That was great. Look at that.